Greetings, and welcome back to another episode of The Greatest Show in the Galaxy, the show where I, the curator, discuss my personal favorite show of all time, personal favorite franchise of all time, Doctor Who. And today we are continuing the theme of the season finales with my good friend Soda. This is by far one of the shortest intros I've done, and frankly, should have done it last week too, but
oh yeah, it wasn't that long.
I don't know. I got too long-winded for some reason. I don't know what came over me, but
it happens.
Speaking of long-winded, something that tends to go a little bit longer than I intend to with this show, the birthday section, right?
Wow.
Well, don't try to sound too excited.
Why do you think I made that noise?
Oh, right. So we are counting down from the 7th of November all the way to the 13th of November. And on the 7th, we have Miss Lindsay. Hold on, let me see if I can get it right. Lindsay Vale Duncan. I'm pretty sure you can recognize from the picture, right?
I recognize the face more than the name.
Yeah. Adelaide Brooke from The Waters of Mars. She was also in, what's that? Birdman with Michael Keaton.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, as the critic. She's got a lot of other credits here. Oh, yeah, she. This is something I realized when we did the companions roles thing. She was TC-14 in Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
And she was Alice's mother in Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland. Yeah,
I tried to erase that movie from my mind.
Well, to each their own.
Mm-hmm.
And also on the 7th of November, we have Mr. Derek Francis, who played
Nero?
Yep, Caesar Nero in The Romans, one of my favorite historical episodes from the William Hartnell era.
Sometimes I do listen.
It's a what?
Sometimes I do listen.
Yeah, only sometimes. Seriously, dude, I highly recommend it. It's amazing, especially for his performance in that episode.
If what I've been hearing is true and that they're slowly colorizing the old stuff, I probably will check it out then.
Well, I mean, because of the setting, this is one I would be very curious to see it colorized. Now, on the 8th of November, we have Miss Nerys Hughes. She played a character called Todd in the 5th Doctor episode Kinda. She was in an 8th Doctor Big Finish episode called Phobos. But she's mostly recently known as a companion of the 4th Doctor on Big Finish. I'm pretty sure her name is Brenda Williams. No. Sorry, I'm looking at this all wrong. She played Brenda Williams, the mother of Reese from Torchwood in 2 episodes. And I'm pretty sure she is also playing a companion of the 4th Doctor.
Might be why she seems vaguely familiar to me.
Yeah, but it's only recently because she started on Big Finish.
No, I'm talking Torchwood.
Oh, all right. She was from the wedding episode, if you remember.
Yeah, I do.
All right, cool. And on the 8th as well, we have Mr. Richard Curtis. Mainly a producer, but he not only wrote Vincent and the Doctor, pretty sure you recognize that name, and he was also executive producer on The Curse of Fatal Death, the spoof thing that got Stephen Moffat his Doctor Who start, essentially. And on the 10th, we have Miss Claire Higgins. I'm pretty sure you can guess who she was from this picture.
I want to say Fires of Pompeii.
No. She was.
No. The mini episode before the 50th.
Yep, Night of the Doctor. She played Ohila, and she also reappeared in a couple of Capaldi's episodes later. On the 10th, here's another one. I'm pretty sure you're gonna make a joke out of it, but I'm pretty sure it's someone you can easily recognize from the name, right? You're familiar with Neil Gaiman, right?
Oh, naturally. author of one of my favorite Marvel comics of all time, Marvel 1602.
Yep, and author of the graphic novel that became the timeless classic Stardust.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he also wrote The Doctor's Wife and Nightmare in Silver on Doctor Who. So yeah, on a lot of people were born on the 10th apparently. On the 10th, we also have Mr. Hugh Bonneville.
Oh, I like him.
Yeah, in Doctor Who specifically, he primarily played Captain Henry Avery in The Curse of the Black Spot and came back for a very brief, blink and you'll miss it cameo in A Good Man Goes to War.
Yep.
And he was also in The Angel of Scutari, a Big Finish episode.
So much so they must have filmed it when they filmed this previous episode.
Yeah, I would not be surprised because like it's so brief that's the only assumption you can make.
Mm-hmm.
On the 11th, finally got out of the 10th. On the 11th of November, we have Mr. Agnes Wright. He played several roles, primarily playing Mr. Dread in the Sarah Jane Adventures episode Vault of Secrets. He played a character called Alec Zenos in We Are the Daleks, a Big Finish episode. But he's primarily known also from Big Finish as being the new voice, because the original actor passed away, the new voice of Magnus Greel, the legendary villain from the iconic, for all the wrong reasons, sometimes episode The Talons of Wang Chiang.
That episode always seems to come up at least once an episode, it seems.
Yeah, almost. I mean, it's a very linchpin episode. But on the 12th, we have Mr. Paul Mars, a writer of several Doctor Who novels and several Doctor Who audio episodes, primarily on Big Finish, but also he wrote the entirety of the Nest Carter Chronicles for Tom Baker, which essentially brought Tom Baker back into playing the role. He's also the creator of the character Iris Wildtime and her sidekick Panda, as you can clearly see from this picture.
Nice.
On the 14th, I think I'm a man that requires no introduction. It's Paul McGann.
I mean, yeah.
Exactly. He requires more TV episodes, but he requires zero introduction at this point.
Of course.
And finally, also on the 14th, another guy easily recognizable from the picture, Mr. Russell Tovey.
Alonso,
yeah. He played Midshipman Alonso Frame in A Voyage of the Damned, briefly came back for The End of Time, and of course he appeared in one of the Big Finish episodes of The Lives of Captain Jack. So if you want to know how Captain Jack's date with Alonso happened after the Doctor left them two together, well, go ahead and listen to that one. He also narrated a bunch of Doctor Who specials and such. So for the incredibly long list of people we had today, thank you all. We quite literally could not do this without you. And so now we're on to the main meat of this episode, the reason why we've all gathered here today. We're here to talk about season finales, or series finales, because that's how the modern series was labeled as for some reason.
May I ask you something before we start? Because this is based on something that has just been announced with the new stuff. Now that they're going down to season 1, are you going to be referring to this stuff as like a different era, or is it still going to be old and modern, classic and modern?
It's still season 40 in my book.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know, how you were going to get it.
That answers your question?
I just wanted to know how you were going to do that. Because, like I said, now it's just going to be season 1, and I know there's going to be people referring to it as something else. Because, well, for example, Ellie Littlechild, in one of the latest videos on Who Culture, referred to it as new Who, and I'm like, oh, great, we're getting closer to new Earth.
Yeah. Did you actually count those?
No, I just kept going until I wanted to stop.
Right. But, well, like I said, to me, it's season 40. There's nothing changes that. I'm still going to refer to it as 40 seasons overall. I don't like this stupid comic book mentality of going after several issues, going back into another number one, and there's another number one and another number one. So that's just me.
The only way it works, because they get done in the comics, is for instance like New Who. You've got the first episode of the classic, you got the first episode of the new. There's two clearly distinct ones, but it's because there's a lot of gap time between the two.
Yeah, but I mean, you could also argue that every new first episode of a new Doctor is like a new beginning.
Exactly. Like, none felt more so than the first episode of the 11th Hour. That one, like right away, compared to the end of time, was like a completely different show. It felt like.
Same can be said for Jodie Whittaker's first episode.
Yeah, exactly.
Or I just recently in my rewatch, which has been on pause for reasons that have happened in the world recently. I recently started the Tom Baker stuff again. Episode 1 of Tom Baker, even though it's directly picking up from the John Pertwee era, feels like a completely new season.
All right.
And speaking of Pertwee's first episode, first season, also feels like a completely new thing. So it's
now one done more so because he's earthbound for that first little while.
Yeah, first episode in color and just all the drama that happened in the previous episode. But you know what? We're getting really, really, really sidetracked here.
Yeah, we're geeking out here.
Speaking of episode 1, season 1, let's go with the one that's restarted it all with season 1 or series 1 with the two-parter of Bad Wolf and the Parting of the Ways. And yes, since many of these are two-parters, we are going to count both at the same time.
Yeah.
But for easiness sake, I only have the one picture for each.
I would have done the same thing because I'm like that. If it's a two-parter, it's one episode. Just one long episode, right?
Yeah, especially considering how many episodes make up a serial in the classic series.
Exactly.
Yeah. So take that, Chris Ingle. Anyways. So what can you tell us about the first and only televised season finale for Christopher Eccleston's Doctor?
Well,
and emphasize the word televised here.
Yeah. They end up back on that planet with the game shows. And they
on a planet at the space station.
Space station, sorry. My apologies. How many years into the future compared to the last time they were there?
100.
Yeah, okay. I thought it was more than that. Yeah, so basically now it's a game show thing. So Rhodes ends up in a version of the Weakest Link with the Doctor, right?
No,
that's right. He's in the Big Brother one, right?
Yeah.
Right. And Captain Jack, I think, is in a makeover one.
Yeah, a Trini and Susanna show.
Yeah. Which I don't know who they are, so I'm assuming it's like a makeover style show.
Oh, they're huge.
Okay.
They even came to Israel a couple of years ago and had a couple of seasons of their show here.
And so at one point, naturally, Captain Jack ends up naked.
Because of course.
Because of course.
By the way, John Barrowman was really upset that they didn't show his bare ass.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. So that happens, and then at the end, Rose ends up absorbing. What is it on the TARDIS? I want to say the time vortex, but I might be mistaken.
Yeah, the time vortex, basically.
Okay, yeah, and then she becomes the Bad Wolf, and in order to save her, the Doctor kisses her and absorbs that energy and ends up regenerating. And they leave Captain Jack behind because they thought he was dead because he had been shot.
No, the Doctor actively avoided him because he's a fixed point in time, which was revealed several seasons later.
They do that at the end. That's right. But other than that, how did I do?
Yeah, pretty spot on. By the way, did you know they actually had 2 endings to that episode?
Oh, no, I did not.
One where Eccleston stays, and one where he leaves and is replaced with David Tennant.
I did not know they did one where he stayed.
Because they weren't planning on dumping him the way that they did. Sorry if I'm being blunt here, but that's basically what they did.
Pretty much.
They Colin Bakered him.
What we got is a good ending.
It's a stellar season.
Yeah.
And what a great way to end it on.
Yeah. But I mean, like the way the Doctor goes out is a pretty Doctor-like way.
Yeah. Wouldn't have it any other way. And of course, the Dalek Emperor. It's nice to see him again.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little disappointing that like he went out and we never see him again, and when we kind of never can see him again because he went out pretty absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And like on the TV side, he only had like 2 episodes. This and Evil of the Daleks, where he also kind of went out almost absolutely. But at least in Evil of the Daleks, they just give you a little bit of hope that he's still around somewhere. We talked about with me and Snark last week.
Yeah.
But this, nope.
Well, hey, you know what? It's Doctor Who. He could always come back anyways.
Yeah, sure. Wibbly wobbly timey wimey.
Exactly. The timeline's been fucked with so many times.
Yeah, of course. Also, speaking of this episode, I just love the names of all the androids in this episode. Like the N droid, Davina droid, Trin E, and Zuz Anna. Yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah, I like it.
That's like Russell T Davies writing at its best.
It's a good episode. But unfortunately, there's bad stuff that follows that's, fantastic. So it's easy to forget about this one sometimes.
Absolutely fantastic.
Mm-hmm. So shall we?
So, yep. So get your tissues ready because it's time for Army of Ghosts and Doomsday. And yes, this is the picture I went with. Deal with it. Because you get everything you need from just this one image, like the Daleks and Cybermen. Not the first time Daleks and Cybermen were in the same episode, but it's the first time they actually meet and fight on the TV side. So what can you tell us about this one?
All right, so the Doctor returns to Earth with Rose and ends up with Mickey, not with Mickey, because he's actually already in the alternate universe by this point.
Spoilers!
For an almost 20-year-old episode? Come on.
No, spoiler for something you're about to reveal.
Right. Yeah, sure. Oh,
that was the joke.
Anyway, so he ends up back with Jackie. She ends up with the TARDIS with some fucking hilarious scenes. But where they end up landing is in the Torchwood Institute because people are starting to see ghosts that they think resembles their dead loved ones. So they end up back on Torchwood, where it's discovered that they are looking. It's not the Rift. What is it called again?
It's the Rift.
It is the Rift.
No, the Rift was in Torchwood 3. The Breach. That's what they call it.
The Breach, yes, where they are monitoring the breach for whatever reasons. In this, we get introduced for the very first time to Freema Agyeman, who plays Adiola. Which I did read that if they had known that they would have liked Freema Agyeman in this role, Freema Agyeman before they filmed this, they wouldn't have killed off the character. They would have had her be the companion.
Well, the connection they made was still pretty fine.
No, 100%. It's a great connection, but I just find it interesting that if that had happened, it would have been Adiola instead of Martha. But anyways,
I wouldn't have it any other way.
Oh no, me neither. I'm just saying it would have been interesting. But yeah, anyway, so they end up there. It turns out that the breach is actually being used by the Daleks and the Cybermen.
No, the breach is where the thing came through. You're talking about the void ship.
Yes, right, correct. Yeah, the egg thing, right?
Yeah, the void ship.
Yeah, the void ship.
The sphere, as they're calling it.
Yeah, and it turns out it's also being monitored from the parallel universe by Mickey and them. So we see Mickey return here with Rose. And then it ends up where the only way to stop the Daleks and the Cybermen is to close it on both ends, but with no way to return. And Rose ends up getting shut out on the other end. And it gives us the famous scene of them on each side of the wall. And then afterwards,
and on the beach.
Yeah, I don't have to say afterwards we end up at a place which appropriately is named Bad Wolf Bay, where the Doctor gives his final message to Rose, because he's hanging on to, he's writing the end of a supernova or something like that. Yeah, and it cuts him off just as he's about to say, "Rose Tyler, I love you," which has been confirmed that is what he was going to say.
All right.
I can't remember who I read confirmed it, but it was somebody involved.
You know what? I'm actually really enjoying this. You having to remember what happened in an episode and break it down, as opposed to just me gushing
Yeah,
about it and snark reacting to it like it was last week.
I'm gonna be honest though. When we get to the last one, I'll be able to do will probably be Capaldi's first. After
All right.
that, it's no memory if I've seen it.
Well, some of the other Capaldi ones, I'm glad you'd forgot them, but pretty sure you can remember this. And yes,
Oh!
we are counting all three. We got kind of going Utopia, The Sound of Drums, and Last of the Time Lords, all in this one go.
All right, so this is gonna be fun. Okay, so at the beginning of Utopia, technically at the end of the previous episode, but anyways, Captain Jack finally tracks down the doctor and not hitchhikes.
Well, he technically does that at the end of season 1 of Torchwood.
Right. Yes, that's what it was at the end of season 1 of Torchwood, and it jumps onto this one, and he ends up back in the TARDIS. Him and Martha, where he hits on Martha, and the doctor's like, "Stop it."
Can I talk to anyone? Can I say hello to anyone?
Can I be honest? I love the chemistry between Barrowman and Tennant. It's great.
Oh, they're amazing.
Oh, they're awesome.
By the way, speaking of Barrowman and Tennant, this might be something I have to show you after the show is over. But have you seen the Doctor Who Tonight's the Night special?
I don't think I've heard of it.
I'll show it to you later. You're gonna love it.
All right, so now they end up in a place. I can't remember the name of the planet because I know Utopia is something else.
What's the planet on Utopia?
What planet? What is this planet that they land on in Utopia? It's not Utopia.
Malcasero.
Okay, what's it called?
Malcasero, home of the Melmuths.
What you said. Anyway, so they end up on that planet where it's
nerd.
Very much so. Where it's revealed that these are the last surviving. What again?
The last surviving humans.
Okay, it's just the humans. Okay, the last surviving humans, and they have built the ship that is supposed to take them to this place called Utopia, thanks to this doctor. Fuck, what was the anagram again?
Yana.
Yes.
You are not alone.
You are not alone. Yes. Professor Yana, who built the ship and is helping them reach this place, Utopia. But through series of events, it is revealed that Professor Yana is none other than the Master. So he regenerates from the War Master.
Sir Derek Jacobi.
Yes, and I was going to say he regenerates from what we find out years later is the War Master.
Derek Jacobi is the War Master.
Right. Yeah. From who? That's what I said. From who we find out later is the War Master to John Sims Master, and it's revealed this was all a ploy. They're basically being sent to their doom. And which is very unfortunate. And then so they end. The Master fucks off. Basically, is what he does. We end up in the next episode. We end up back in London, but it's revealed that the Master has been masquerading himself as somebody named John Saxon, which is a name that has been dropped out a lot throughout this season, and I think it was mentioned at least once in season 2 as well.
In the Christmas special.
Yes, in the Christmas special. So John Saxon has been a while, but it turns out it is the Master who is
Harold Saxton.
Yeah, John Saxton is somebody else. He's an actor in Nightmare on Elm Street. My bad. But anyways, so yeah, he's now the newly elected prime minister, and he has this. I can't remember what the plan is, but it ends up. Is this where he ends up, where he takes the place of everybody?
No, that's
later. Never mind. Fuck. Actually, I can pin. I remember moments where the Doctor's aged to like this crumpled old thing. I remember it's a year later, with Martha wandering the world, with spreading the word of the Doctor, or the name of the Doctor, or something like that.
Yeah, stories of the Doctor.
The stories of the Doctor, the legend of the Doctor. I remember things like that, but I don't remember what the Master's plan is.
He basically brought the future and the present together, brought all the people who thought were going to Utopia, which have been cannibalized into these flying sphere creatures. He brings them all the way down to the present.
Right, that's right. That's
It's
who
a
they
paradox where
was
they're allowed to kill their ancestors, slaughter their ancestors. And he basically takes over Earth and forces people to build rockets and missiles for
okay.
him.
Because, like I said, I remember like all the events around it. I just couldn't remember what his plan was. And then at the end, his wife, who he had brainwashed into marrying him and helping him with his deeds and stuff
Well,
like
he
that,
didn't necessarily brainwash her, but
she got suckered in.
Yeah.
She ends up turning on him and killing him. And history gets rewritten. Martha leaves the TARDIS. Yeah, and Jack goes back
off to marry Lucifer.
It's sorry, what?
She goes to marry Lucifer.
Correct. She goes to marry Lucifer.
From Ellis.
Yep. And then obviously Jack goes back to Torchwood, and the Doctor goes off on his own to go voyage on the Titanic.
After meeting his former self, of course.
Correct. After the. Sorry about that. That was me fidgeting with something and I dropped it. Yeah, correct. After the little 5-minute pre-episode, which is so cool.
Yeah.
You can imagine just how giddy with joy Tennant was.
Yeah, and this is before he married his daughter.
Correct. This was before they became family.
Yeah, I always go back into this this comic, not Comic-Con, but a certain con moment where
I think I know where you're going with this.
I think you don't. Where it was Peter Davison, Colin Baker, Sylvester McCoy, and Paul McGann. Mm-hmm. And a girl from the audience asked all four of them, which of the modern Doctors is your favorite? And then she goes, Peter, you're not allowed to say David.
Oh, okay.
And then he just goes, oh.
I thought you were going to go with
I know which one you were thinking.
Yeah, what's the weirdest thing a fan's ever given you? And somebody yelled from the audience, a grandchild?
A grandchild! Several grandchilds now. But...
that is actually a pretty good one. That is quite the meme. Now, before we continue, what is weirder? The real life Tennant Davidson situation or the fictional 11th Doctor and the Pawns familial thing?
Damn, you got me in a box here. Because this just reminds me of something I sent you earlier this week. Sorry. Mm-hmm. Let me see if I still have it. Is it? It should still be here. There we go. This picture that I sent you earlier this week.
Oh, yes. Yep.
That was amazing.
Life imitating art.
Yeah, but again, I just love the. I think for the memes alone, I'd go the 11th Doctor with the Pawns, just because of that meme of that moment where, where you get you get shot by your wife in front of your wife, who then proceeds to try and kill your wife, while your best friend is off to the side, pregnant with your wife.
I know, right? It's okay. You fair.
Yeah, I get and people think familial relationships in Game of Thrones is complicated.
Yeah,
amateurs. Is what I'll say. And speaking of complicated, season 30, otherwise known as series 4. I think, for simplicity's sake, on your side, we're not really going to count Turn Left. We're just going to jump right into the Stolen Earth and Journey's End.
Good.
My favorite Doctor Who episode of all time.
Yeah.
Both of these at the same time.
Basically, in this one, Davros has hatched a plan where he steals planets.
Yeah.
And what have you.
Yeah, no biggie. Just steals a couple planets.
No biggie. So the Doctor is stuck on Earth while this happens. And of course he runs into, everybody. Martha comes back. What's her face? Harriet Jones even comes back. He reunites with Sarah Jane.
Yes, I know who she is.
Yep. But first off, I love it when on Christmas Invasion the fucking alien does that. Yes, we know who you are. Kills me every time.
Dude, in this episode, the Daleks do it.
Right? Kills me every fucking time. I love that running joke. Anyways, so they all reunite via a sound wave network?
Subwave.
Subwave, sorry, via Subwave network that Harriet Jones had basically taken care of herself. But unbeknownst to everybody, Rose has shown up. She had consistently throughout the season, you would catch very brief glimpses of her. But this one, she comes back, and she ends up on this network, on Donna's on Wilf and I forget her name's computer. Unfortunately, she can see them, but they can't see her. Is that what it is?
Wait, what are you referring to?
When they're all in the Subwave network, and Rose is watching.
It's a Zoom conference. It's an early Zoom conference.
Right. But
let's call it what it is.
But Rose can see them, but they can't. But they can't see or hear her.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, she's trying to get a hold of them. Whatever. The Zoom meeting ends when they discover Harriet Jones and they kill her. I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
That was confirmed. She is dead.
She was shot by a Dalek.
It's wibbly wobbly. You never know. Anyways, so yeah, that's how. So that happens. They exit. Rose, and then immediately Rose runs to reunite with the Doctor when she sees them, and just as that's about to happen, the Doctor gets shot by a Dalek. Yep. And that ends the first part, correct?
Yeah, and he regenerates, and that's how the first part ends.
Right.
Yeah. An episode.
Yeah, he regenerates, but what happens is he splits into two. This is when he splits into the two?
Slightly later. He siphons off the energy into his severed hand.
Correct. Yeah, and then that's how. Okay, right. I can't remember at what point the Donna becomes the Dr. Donna, though. I know it's in the second episode.
Right at the end.
It's at the end. Okay. But yeah, anyways, they end up reuniting. Donna becomes the Dr. Donna. They're all on board the TARDIS. They all have their own function. They all have their own specific thing to do, except for Jackie, because she's there too. And Doctor's like, you don't touch anything. And they all fly the planets back home. And then at the end of the episode, Rose goes back to her new dimension, or new universe, but the second Doctor goes with her because he's technically half human. At this point, everything kind of gets all muddled. You're going to have to take over from here.
I mean, completely skipped over the elephant in the room here.
Yeah, you're going to have to, because there's literally so much going on in this episode that I'm having a hard time remembering.
Yeah, but I mean, it's right in front of you.
I know.
You mentioned Davros' name, but Davros hatched a plan to disintegrate reality.
That's what the plan was. I knew. Yeah, okay.
It disintegrate all of reality except for him. And it's got Dalek Khan right behind him.
Spoilers. Fails.
Well, spoilers. I mean, it's right behind him. You see
No.
the picture?
No. I wasn't referring to that being a spoiler. I was saying spoilers. He fails.
Well, I mean, yeah, because
this is a joke.
Dalek Khan saw it happening.
So yeah, that ends the plan. The Doctor pretty much tows everything back. And then Rose gets left with the new Doctor.
The Meta-Crisis Doctor.
Yes, because he's half human because of Donna, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so he's half human because of Donna, so because of that, he can live a normal life with Rose. So basically, she gets her happy ending finally. It's basically the same Doctor, he's just half human now.
Yeah, but the Doctor doesn't want him around in his universe because he committed genocide.
Exactly. And then Martha's left and all that stuff, and then they all go their separate ways. And then
Martha leaves the unit and marries Mickey for some stupid reason.
Yeah, that's kind of random and out of nowhere. Whatever. But yeah, so they all go their separate ways, and then now we go into the journey of Tennant's final specials.
Yep.
Yeah.
And of course, we do get this wonderful moment.
Oh yeah. Oh, you know what? It was a great way for a run to end in a way, like not including the specials, having everybody there.
Yeah. All of which did came back for Tennant's final run.
Yeah.
Somehow you managed to completely skip over Sarah Jane.
I'm just saying there was so much shit happening on.
I mean, it's
a heavy episode. Like you've said in the past, and I've come to agree with you, it's Avengers before the fucking Avengers.
It's not just it's Infinity War.
Yeah, that's right. It was
Endgame before.
Yeah,
before
that's right.
The MCU was a thing.
So, geez, yeah, there's so much going on. Great episode.
Yeah. Great episode. My favorite still to this day. And well, moving on. This one I think we're gonna have a much easier time remembering because we have the Pandorica opens and of course
so we're not doing the end of time.
Yeah, I mean I figured it's not technically a season.
Yeah,
that's my meaning.
It's a finale. It's not a season finale.
It's a regeneration episode.
Okay,
but it's not a season finale, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. All right. So the Pandorica opens. Basically, okay. This part I don't remember what's causing this to happen.
The cracks.
The cracks. Okay. Yes, that's right. It's all based around the cracks. So fuck. Okay. So the beginning of the Pandorica opens. They get called back to Roman times.
The Romans.
Is this where we find out that River Song was Cleopatra, or was that another episode?
No, it's this one, but I mean, it's like it's barely worth mentioning it in the way the episode set it up.
Well, I'm just trying to remember how she ends up with them. That's all. Okay, so yeah, no, they end up.
I'll tell you, it's the Van Gogh painting that went from all around history and somehow made its way to Churchill. And he accidentally, instead of calling the TARDIS, he accidentally called River Song in prison.
Correct. Yes, and then that's what she ends up there.
So she's like, well, I guess it's time for me to escape again because I can do that. I can just walk in and out of a prison whenever I want to. Super maximum security prison.
Because she's River Song.
Yeah, and she of course she graffitis the earliest the oldest cliff face in the universe.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, keep going. I'll look up the picture for a second because something I want to bring up.
Okay, so yeah, they end up with the Romans, and they end up being the Romans, and what ends up happening is they run into Rory, who had actually passed away a few episodes earlier, and his body was absorbed into the crack.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, his body was absorbed into the crack, and because of that, Amy actually had lost all her memory of him. So he clearly remembers her, but she doesn't remember him. But somehow he's a Roman. And he tries to convince her throughout the episode that, it's me, it's Rory. She's like, who's Rory? It's that kind of stuff. And then, so at the end, it's revealed that they are, what is the monster again?
There is no name for the monster, just the Pandorica.
No, I'm talking about what turns out what Rory is and the Romans and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Auton.
Okay, so that's what it was. It is Auton. So, anyways, shit happens, and then it ends up being revealed that there are all Autons.
The Romans are.
The Romans are Autons. Forgive me. When is it revealed that this comes from a picture? That this comes from a book? Is that in this later on, or is it around here?
No, it's in this episode.
Okay, so yeah, basically, it is revealed that the crack has something to do with Amy's memories, and the reason they are Romans is because it was in a book that she had lying around.
Yep.
And there's a picture of Rory around there somewhere.
Dressed as a Roman.
It was dressed as a Roman. It wasn't that it was just in the book. Yeah, dressed as a Roman. And so the crack reproduced them as Autons, basically copied them. And that's how Rory ended up there with the memories and stuff like that. But at the end of the episode, Amy gets shot.
By Rory,
because it's basically he's got his automatic command that he's trying to fight off in a heartbreaking scene. And he shoots her in the stomach. And in order to save her, they put her in the Pandorica.
That's the next episode.
Oh, right. Because this episode is revealed that Pandorica was created to imprison the Doctor.
Yes.
Which happens. Can't remember how he gets out, though.
The future Doctor shows up with the fez and the mop and gives Rory the sonic screwdriver.
Right. Which opens.
It's like the perfect Doctor Who problem solve. It's like
pretty much.
The universe exploded.
Yeah.
Rory's holding the body of his deceased wife. The doctor's trapped somewhere. How the hell is are they going to save this? He's lost all hope.
Yeah.
And then zap, the doctor shows up with a mop in the vest, with a fez. And
I remember that.
Okay, she's alive.
I remembered that, but I had forgotten that he'd given him the screwdriver. But anyways, yeah. So they open it up. He opens it up with the screwdriver. He releases the doctor. That's when they put Amy in, which crosses over into the next episode, where through some weaving of circumstances, young Amelia Pond ends up at the London National Museum of History. I think it is
the London Museum.
Yeah, and when they come across the Pandorica, it opens. And out pops Amy and she says, "Boy, have I got a story for you, kid."
No, she says, "All right, kid, this is where it gets complicated."
Right. Shit. Anywho, and then so now I don't remember the true timeline of the stuff in this episode, but we get things like it's revealed that Rory has guarded the Pandorica for 2,000 years, and that he was basically become an urban legend about this lone centurion guarding a box, and that's how he got the nickname the Lone Centurion. They are in basically the Earth is colliding with the sun.
Well, the sun is the TARDIS exploding.
Right. Yes, the TARDIS is in the heart of that. Yeah. Fuck. Now I'm actually starting to weave this in with the wedding of River Song. Oh, that's not good.
We'll get to that.
Yeah. You might have to finish this off because everything I'm remembering is in that one.
Yeah. So after the doctor makes the trip from the past to this place, and he gets reunited with Amy and Rory, they run up to the roof, as you can see in this picture, and the doctor teleports using the vortex manipulator into the exploding TARDIS to rescue River Song. He gets shot by a Dalek, presumed dead, but only he just traveled back in time like a couple of minutes before. River Song destroys the Dalek, and the doctor gets himself into the Pandora, kind of flies it into the heart of the storm, into the exploding TARDIS to restart the universe, erasing himself in the process. But then Amy Pond gets married to Rory.
Yeah, right. Yeah, this I all remember. Yes. So what happens is before he disappears, he actually sits by Amelia's bed and tells her the story. He tells her stuff. Anyways,
we're all stories in the end. Just make it a good one.
That's where that comes from. Yes, we're all stories at the end. We'll just make it a good one. And all this is happening. He clearly gets away from her memory. She grows up normally with Rory. They get married, and on her wedding day, she feels like something is missing. She can't shake this feeling. She starts acting all manic, and Rory's concerned. Her family's concerned. Oh, by the way, her parents are back.
Or rather, she has parents now.
She has parents, correct? Yeah, she has parents this time. And then all of a sudden, Rory starts to remember. And when Amy starts to remember, and she's just like something borrowed. What is this? What was it she says? What is it she says?
Something old, something new, something borrowed, and something blue.
And then she says something, and then the TARDIS appears.
Well, yeah, that's what she said.
Oh, I thought she said more. Sorry. And then the doctor appears, and he's like, "You think I'd miss your wedding day?" And then that's where we get the famous giraffe dance.
Hold on.
I knew you'd have that.
No, I saw you were doing it.
Oh, yeah. So basically, they're enjoying the wedding, and he does the wacky giraffe dance. Oh, God damn it.
Finally got you back.
Yeah, I knew it would happen eventually. And then they basically on their wedding night, they join the doctor in the TARDIS, and then off they go to a Christmas Carol where they do a weird honeymoon on a spaceship that gets interrupted with some whales and singing and Captain Sardak and stuff.
What whales? Where did you bring that from?
What's in the clouds again? Sharks. No, what is in the clouds again for Christmas Carol? Fish. It was an underwater animal.
Manimal?
Shut up.
Fish are not mammals. Whales are. Yeah, before that, there's the Sarah Jane Adventures episode where he's like, Amy and Rory, I left them off with a honeymoon planet. Just what you think. It's not a planet made a moon made of honey. The planet itself is on a honeymoon. It married an asteroid. Okay, but here's the thing I wanted to bring up. So this is the blimey, that was a long episode. But yeah, so this is the graffiti, this cliff face in the universe, where she writes "Hello, sweetie." There, if you look closely down below the two L's, that's Theta Sigma, the Doctor's nickname from the Academy, which ties into the Doctor's real name.
Well, isn't that a nice little Easter egg?
Yeah, it's pretty fun. Okay, so that was a massive one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So are you relieved that the next season finale is just one episode, right?
Yes.
The Wedding of River Song.
Now, how the hell we get there, I don't remember. But basically, we're in a world where was it? Fuck, where's Church? Is it Churchill's in modern times? Fuck.
All of history is happening at once.
Right, all the history is happening at once. So you see Churchill at the beginning.
So Churchill is the Holy Roman Emperor.
Right.
Because of course he would be.
Yeah. So Churchill is the Holy Roman Emperor. The Doctor shows up in basically a bed sheet and a beard.
A toga. It's a toga.
So it is okay. Fuck. You know what? You're gonna have to take over for this one because I actually don't remember this one that well.
At all?
I remember things. I remember things, but I don't remember the storyline.
All right.
I remember moments. Like I remember Amy with the eye patch. I remember, like I said, the Doctor with the beard, things like that. But the story, I don't fucking remember.
So after the entire season of being in this dread that the Doctor's going to die at some point, and it's going to be River Song who kills him. All right.
Mm-hmm.
We finally catch up to that point, but the episode starts with all of history's messed up because you got pterodactyls flying around in Hyde Park. You got cars with balloons attached to them flying around. You got a Roman centurion following traffic. It's all messed up. You got like we said, you got Churchill as the Holy Roman Emperor and a Silurian as his physician. And then, like, you find out that the Doctor's been around for this whole time, and something's off. So he starts to tell the story of how everything got messed up. It all goes back to when he went back and got reunited with Doria Maldivar, or in this case, just his head. And he basically tells them what the answer to the question is, or rather, what the question is, the mysterious question that the Silence tried to try to prevent from ever being answered, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when he realizes this, he finally realizes that he just can't avoid it. He's going to have to stand on Lake Silencio eventually and face the consequences, for lack of a better word. Face the question. So after which, River Song just refused to kill him, and because it's a major fixed point in time and space, everything gets messed up. But then Amy and Rory and some of the other people save the Doctor from being a prisoner of Churchill and being attacked by the Silence, and they go into the Pyramid of Giza, which is now actually Area 51, because of course it is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where they're keeping all the Silence, and that's where they're also keeping Madame Kavarian, who was in league with the Silence, and then the Silence all break out and attack them. They kill Madame Kavarian in the process, and then the Doctor River Song go to the top of the pyramid, where she shows him that the whole universe, as seen in this picture, is ready and willing to help the Doctor in his time of need.
And this is where they get married.
And they use the Doctor's own bow tie as the cloth to formulate the union. And he kind of mentions that he told her River his real name. What he really told her was, "Look into my eye," because there's a little mini Doctor in this Doctor-sized tesselector. So they kiss. The time gets fixed, The Doctor is presumed dead, but he's still running around the universe. And then River Song from the Byzantium episode shows up and tells Rory and Amy the truth. And we discover that the true question, the question that must never be answered, hidden in plain sight, the oldest question in the universe, the question you've been running from all your life, Doctor Who. Doctor Who. Doctor Who.
Yep.
So this mentions what you remember, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. Like you said, that's the thing with this particular season. Again, there's just a lot fucking going on, and for an episode I haven't seen in a long time, it's tough to remember. Like the other ones, those are just so ingrained in my mind because of how much we talk about them, just for how great they are. But the Wedding of River Song, unfortunately, is one of those that I just don't remember that well.
Right. Now, this one I would say is the last of the great season finale. Did you just light
My mom
up?
just walked in the door, that's all.
Oh, I thought you told the lights to light on.
No, my mom just showed up.
That was spooky.
Yeah. He thought I told the lights to turn on.
Oh no! Hello.
Yeah.
Because he muted himself and talked, and then the light turned on. Like, how did that happen?
Yeah.
Okay. That would be the first singer.
Should we move on, or should we?
Yes, keep going. I will mute myself when I'm not talking.
Well,
so taking over from here?
What?
Did you mind taking over from here?
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure you remember what happens in this episode at least, right?
I don't remember how the Pastor Notre Gang gets there, but I do remember certain things like the leaf and shit like that. So
yeah. So basically, turns out Jack the Ripper has a secret that he knows something about the Doctor. Madame Vastra goes to look it up, and all he says is the Doctor has many secrets, but he's got one that he'll take to his grave, and it is discovered. So the Paternoster Gang then call a conference call with Vastra, Jenny, Strax, Clara, and of course River Song, who all meet in this very Indian-inspired dream meeting place thing where they discuss what she was told by what's his face, Jack the Ripper, and then they all sort of get taken out of the conversation one by one by these mysterious whispermen that just show up, which are then later revealed to be agents of the Great Intelligence, who was previously reintroduced in Doctor Who in the Christmas special, which kind of sort of introduces Clara, but not really. It's complicated. Again, it's Doctor Who, of course. And then Clara then goes back to consciousness, essentially, and tells the Doctor what she heard in the conference. And the Doctor was like, well, I gotta go save. I don't want to, but because Vastra, Jenny, and Strax are there, I gotta go save them because I can't leave my friends behind. They go to Trenzalore, but it's Trenzalore in the future, before the question is supposed to be answered, or not answered in this case. So they reach Trenzalore, they land on Trenzalore, they reach the Doctor's tomb, which of course is a giant TARDIS from the future. And all the while, Clara continues to see these flashes and visions of River Song, who's still lingering around there somewhere. They eventually catch up with the Paternoster Gang and get reintroduced to Dr. Simeon, which of course is the Great Intelligence, played by the amazing Richard E. Grant. And he leads them into the center of the TARDIS, where the Doctor's kind of last burial place is supposed to be, which of course is the Doctor's timeline. And the Great Intelligence goes inside it to try and kill the Doctor in every moment of his time. And then, of course, the stupidest thing in Doctor Who ever happens, where Clara jumps in after him to try and save him. We get flashes of all the previous Doctors and various points in the canon, with Clara just digitally added on to the existing clips, and then an even more stupid thing happens where the Doctor jumps into his own timeline to save Clara. And then, of course, we meet the War Doctor, who was the one secret that the Doctor was trying to keep. Not his name. That's his secret.
Mm-hmm. So, was this the episode where we find out that River is actually just a subconsciousness?
Well, she is in that one specifically, in this episode specifically.
Yeah, because this is the one where the Doctor says, "I always see you." I just right. That's this episode.
Yeah, I always see you, but and then she's like, "Why don't you ever acknowledge me?" And he's like, "I thought it would be too painful for me."
Great scene. I was wondering if you're going to bring that up.
Yeah, and then they kiss, and he's like, "Since nobody else can see you, God knows how that looked."
Yep. And that's the last we see of River's song.
Until Capaldi's.
That's true. Until Capaldi's, yeah.
And you know what? I'm still not convinced that was the last we'll ever see of River Song.
Me neither. I think we're going to see her again. I honestly think I would be surprised if we see her in the 60th and they're just not saying anything.
I mean, of course, she met the 10th Doctor several times on Big Finish, but if they want to ignore the Big Finish continuity, she recognizes David Tennant's face.
Yeah.
And she says, "Your eyes are younger than I've ever seen you."
Yeah.
Maybe Russell can do something with that. Who knows?
Maybe it could be that she was referring to we're gonna see
other David Tennant Doctor.
Yeah, the other David Tennant. So who knows?
What do you think about this episode?
It's a great episode. It's a really good episode because I think it wraps up River Song's main story very, very well. That is the big takeaway from this, for me.
I mean, there's good. There are good moments in this episode, but again, you know me. It's unavoidable.
You hate the ending. You hate the ending.
Hate the ending. Again, putting my disdain for Clara on the side for just a minute. I think it makes more narrative sense if she died in the episode. I mean, freaking the Great Intelligence did not survive the trip.
Or at the very least, he couldn't get her back.
Well, yeah. But again, just you can't set something like that up that an ultra powerful godlike being doesn't survive being inside the Doctor's timeline for too long, and then say, "Oh, but this 20-year-old girl can do it."
Yeah, but
the Doctor can do it, which is even worse.
And that's why she has the nickname, though, the Impossible Girl.
Yeah, but still, she got the nickname for a different reason.
I know.
But so is the Doctor also the Impossible Guy? Because he also survived and got out of there. We never see how they got out of there in the first place.
No, he's the Doctor.
I mean, I know Doctor Who's not supposed to make any sense, especially when Stephen Moffat's writing it. But this is several steps too far.
Yeah.
Like, they could have had the reveal of the War Doctor some other way. But I love the reveal of the War Doctor.
Oh, it was a great. And
that one
as
broke the internet.
Yeah, because they never announced that beforehand, did they? I don't remember.
That he would be in Doctor Who. They never announced what he was going to be playing.
Right. Okay. Yeah. No. When that happened, whoo boy, I was definitely watching back then. And
there was also the famous story of somehow the people who pre-ordered this season got the full season DVD or Blu-rays early, including this episode. It's like several dozen people, maybe over 100 people. I can't remember the exact number. But they all saw the episode before it aired.
Oh, wow.
And the BBC somehow managed to contact each and every single one of them and just ask them nicely not to reveal any spoilers about the War Doctor. They even rewarded them with special clips from the upcoming 50th, and all those people just kept their silence.
Well, yeah.
And I love that because it shows the strength of the Doctor Who fandom.
Correct, Mundo.
I mean, you and I probably remember how everywhere after the Half-Blood Prince book came out,
Oh yeah,
everywhere you see was like Snape kills Dumbledore. Snape kills
people
Dumbledore.
were driving by and ruining it for people in line and shit. Oh, I remember somebody did that here in my town.
Really, like people were getting it tattooed on their cars, driving around. So yeah,
I remember.
The Doctor Who fandom doesn't do stuff like that apparently, especially when the BBC asks nice. And you know what? When the BBC finally decides to do something nice, it's got to be a very special occasion. Am I right?
Yeah, it's got to be for a reason.
Yeah. And now this. We got Dark Water and Death in Heaven. You said you might remember some stuff from this.
Well, yeah. So I what I do remember, of course, Missy is with the Cybermen, and that Danny Pink ends up becoming one of the Cybermen. That's mainly what I remember, and especially in the scene in the cemetery here where he sacrifices himself. That is what I remember the most.
And that's all you remember. That's all
I remember. And Clara blaming the Doctor for it and all that jazz. And
well, no, you skipped a few beats.
Oh, okay.
Because it starts when Clara accidentally kills Danny Pink.
Right.
She tells him she loves him while he's on the phone. While he's crossing the street, and he stops and gets hit by a car.
Yeah.
And dies and apparently goes to heaven, which in this case is a Time Lord. What's it called? A Time Lord circuit or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And she essentially strong arms the Doctor into taking her to try and go save Danny, which he's letting her think that she's got the upper hand when in reality she doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
But he was just testing her to see how far she's willing to go for Danny Pink, and then they go and try and find him, and then they find this character Missy, who they don't know who she is yet. And
that's right. We've seen her, but they haven't by this point. I forgot about that.
And again, the audience doesn't know who she is yet either.
But we've met her, but that's about it.
Yeah, we've seen her. We still don't know who she is, but yeah, slowly we learn that this whole life after death thing is complete BS.
Mm-hmm.
And then slowly over the course of the episode, we learned that all the dead people have been converted into Cybermen, and this character Missy has been behind it all along.
Mm-hmm.
When the Doctor confronts her and asks who's Missy, this is one of my favorite reveals ever. She's like, I'll try to keep up. It's short for mistress. Well, I couldn't very well keep calling myself the master. How could I?
Mic drop.
Mic drop.
You're right. That was such a great moment.
I'm even willing to excuse the cheesy scene of the Cybermen in front of St. Paul's Cathedral.
Mm.
And then, of course, the next episode, Kate Stewart shows back up again with Osgood.
Right. And then we get what is a controversial decision in this episode, right?
Which one are you referring to?
Brigadier.
I thought you were referring to something else, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So they bring the Doctor to Air Force One, and they declare that in a time of crisis, the Doctor is basically the president of the world.
Right.
So, first of all, I mean, how can you be elected a president of a planet that's not even your native planet?
He's always protecting them. Who else would be better?
Well, I suppose. But yeah, so Missy kills Osgood. That's the controversial decision I thought you were.
Oh, yes.
And they crash the plane. They land in a cemetery while all the Cybermen. First of all, you want to talk about controversial? Missy literally turns all the dead people in graveyards into Cybermen. Which
is why I brought up the Brigadier, because spoilers, he's one of them.
Yeah, but there's this whole completely pointless scene of just the Doctor and Missy basically doing nothing, and the Doctor, after a full season, finally realizes he's the Doctor and just gives Danny Pink the control clock watch thing, and all the Cybermen fly up and blow themselves up to destroy the clouds. That turns people into Cybermen. And then, of course, the Brigadier destroys Missy, or at least we think he destroys Missy.
And then he doesn't. Where does was it in front of the doctor? Or is it in front of Kate that he does it?
No, he grabbed Kate when she fell out of the plane, saved her because, of course, that's his daughter.
Yep, naturally.
And then he salutes the doctor, and for the first time ever,
I remember reading that was a big deal.
Salutes back.
Yeah.
Now I love this moment.
Yeah, the entire episode, friend. Yeah.
Man, the entire rest of the episode is nah.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's got some moments like the Cyber Brigadier salute and the Missy reveal, but
yeah, outside of that, it's an okay end to an okay season.
It's a blah.
Yeah.
Like the whole scene of like not Martha, Clara and Danny Pink talking on like a phone thing, and he's like, Clara, it's me, it's Danny. Tell me something that only the real Danny would know. I love you. That's not good enough. What's my favorite color? Clara, I love you. Where did we go on our first date? Clara, I love you. I need to know you're the real Danny. Clara, it's like, come on. Is this your first day on the job, Steven? Anyways. So from a blah ending to a meh season, we go to a ending to a great season with, of course, Hellbent. And yes, we are counting this as the season finale solely, despite the awesomeness that is Heaven Sent. We're left with this as the season finale. So, do you even remember anything from this, or should I just take it?
Take it, because after this, it's hazy as to what I actually have seen.
So, yeah, after spending 4.5 billion years trying to punch his way out of a wall, a diamond wall, the Doctor is back on Gallifrey, and he's pissed at the Time Lords for what they did to him, and he basically tells the Rassilon himself, "Get off my planet." That's the most badass thing the Doctor's ever done. Well, one of the most badass things the Doctor's ever done. So yeah, all the Time Lord guards switch over to his side. He kicks Rassilon off the planet. He then gets rid of the High Council. He's the leader of Gallifrey now. And then it turns out that this whole thing was just a ploy to get Clara back. And yep, he saves Clara from the brink of death and runs off with her.
Right.
Yeah. He shoots the general, who regenerates back into a woman. And he just steals another TARDIS and flies all the way to the end of the universe, thinking that this was the only way to save Clara. And then Clara one-ups him again, and just instead of him erasing her memories, she erases his memories and goes off traveling the time and space in a stolen TARDIS with a broken chameleon circuit and a human companion. Because it's almost as if she's the Doctor now, apparently. And the Doctor, with no memories of Clara, getting a new sonic screwdriver, and actually can finally get back into the business of doctoring around the universe.
Dun, dun, dun. That's right. As soon as you said it was a whole ploy to get back Clara, that's right. I remembered that she had died. He brings her back. She's with the diner. She ends up traveling with him.
Which was the same diner, or the same shooting location, the diner from a couple of seasons ago.
Yeah. It has a couple moments that I didn't mind. I have seen this episode, but
go ahead.
But I was gonna say, but clearly it's not something that's memorable.
Clearly, yeah, it starts out great, then falls apart in the second half. I mean, at least we get to see the barn again from the Day of the Doctor. That's something. But yeah, so should we move on to Capoli's last?
Yes.
Because we've got World Enough in Time and the Doctor Falls. I think we both talked about this. We have seen this in our rewatch that we did with Ben a few years ago,
but you take the reins, because again.
All right, so after Missy tries to do the right thing and tries to change, tries to show that she's capable of being good, the Doctor decides to take her on a test run. They land on a spaceship that's trying to get away from a black hole, with Bill and Nardole, and Missy essentially being the doctor while the doctor is monitoring her. And then they find out that something's wrong with the ship. Bill gets shot through the stomach and taken down to the lower decks of the ship, where she slowly, over the course of several years, is turned into a Cyberman.
That's right.
When they finally go back to save her, because a lot of time has passed, because time moves differently between the front of the ship and the back of the ship, and they not only find that the whole bottom of the ship was a massive conversion factory for Cybermen, they also discover that the Master was there, the John Sim Master to be specific. And he gets reunited with Missy, and so the two Masters try to get rid of the Doctor, but the Doctor one-ups them by tricking the Cybermen into thinking that Time Lords can be converted into Cybermen as well. And then they escape. The Doctor kind of gets deleted by a Cyberman a little bit, but he's managing to hold on for a few weeks after the fact, where they go into one of the solar farms further up in the ship, and they help the farmers try to get away from the Cybermen while fighting back at them. The Doctor decides to stay behind and take out as many Cybermen as he could, blows up the entire floor with all the Cybermen on it, and presumed dead. And then Bill shows up to try and comfort him. Heather, who was her kind of girlfriend that was introduced at the beginning of the season, pulls her out of the Cybermen, makes her human again. They bring back the Doctor into the TARDIS, and then just fly off and travel the universe together. And then the Doctor begins regenerating before meeting his first incarnation as the Doctor specifically, which leads into Twice Upon a Time.
Yeah.
But so this is the gist.
Yeah, so I have seen this, but I've only seen it the one time, and it was for that rewatch, so I don't remember. Like, episodes I've only seen once, I don't really remember all too well. I remember certain things with the Puddle Girl and all that stuff. But
speaking of the Puddle Girl, do you know the subtle hint there between, because they have a relationship together?
That they were lesbians, yeah.
That's not the one I was referring to.
And probably not.
Their names are Bill and Heather. As in Bill and Heather Hartnell.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah. That's deep. That's Stephen Moffat at his best.
That is a nice little Easter egg.
That's Stephen Moffat Easter egging and done right.
Yeah.
But from what I said, do you have anything to say? The John Sim is back.
I wish we got more Bill. It's kind of cool seeing the original model of the Cyberman back. But outside
Mondasian Cyberman.
Yeah, but outside of that, not really much. Like I said, I've only seen it the one time.
Yeah. It's always great to see John Sim back, right?
Always. I love
You
him.
may have wondered why I called you here today. It's because one of you in this room is a murderer. And it's me!
So, yeah. And now we move into completely unfamiliar territory for you, right?
Yes.
And we start off with the Battle of Ranskor of Kolos. And man, that's a mouthful.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so 13 Doctor and friends land on some deserted planet, which apparently is a planet that belongs to the Ox. And the Ox are these godlike beings who can just create planets out of nothing. Or something or other. And it's revealed at the beginning of the episode where Zimshaw, or Tim Shaw, as the Doctor calls him, was accidentally stranded to this planet instead of going back to the Stenza's homeworld, and he basically tricks them into thinking he's a god. So he's tricking these godlike beings into thinking that he's a god of gods. Yeah, because that works apparently somehow. But yeah, so the Doctor and friends find a distress signal from that planet. They go trying to rescue it, and that's where they find the Ox, and that's when they get reintroduced into Tim Shaw, which of course carries a lot of baggage to all of them because he killed Graham's wife, which of course is also Ryan's grandmother. And Graham almost kills Tim Shaw, but is then pulled back from the dark abyss by Ryan. And they find a way to save the Ox and destroy Tim Shaw for good. And just the Doctor leaving a hopeful message to the Ox. And then they fly away. And they save the people who were stranded on the planet. That's more or less it. Like, clearly you can tell that even I don't really have a lot of fond memories from this one.
Yeah. I mean, eventually I'll get to it.
Eventually. You keep saying that. Maybe one it'll be true. But from what I said, have you anything to say?
It was nice to see Tim Shaw come back because I do remember that character. I've seen the first 6 episodes of this season. But yeah, outside of that,
that is kind of the feel of the planet. I mean, it was a challenging season. I am currently doing another rewatch of it. There's a lot of good in it. Just it's kind of mixed in with some meh stuff. And now on to something that's totally not forgettable and very, very controversial. The most controversial thing Doctor Who has ever done. Even more than Clara Oswald. With Ascension of what?
So probably way more than Clara.
Way more. Ascension of the Cybermen and the Timeless Children. So picking up from The Haunting of Villa Diodati, the previous episode, where the Doctor gave up the Siberia to the lone Cyberman Ashad. They go back into the Cyber Wars in the far future. They find the last of humanity trying to struggle against the remaining Cybermen from the Cyber Wars, and they try to rescue the last humans left alive to get them to a place called the Foundry so they can get to safety while being chased by Cybermen led by Ashad, who now possesses the power of the Siberiad. They finally get to the Foundry. They meet Coach Harmus, and there's this portal that leads to another planet, and it's revealed that planet is the remains of Gallifrey, which we found out was destroyed at the beginning of the season earlier. And then the Master shows up, the Sacha Dhawan Master, the Spy Master as he's referred to, and he takes the Doctor on a trip.
He's referred to as what? Sorry,
the what?
You said the Spy Master?
Yeah, that's his nickname, the Spy Master. So you got like the Saxon Master, the Reborn Master, the Revised, the Skeletal Master, all that. So he's the Spy Master.
I've been referred to as the Spy Master before.
Maybe you should watch the season and realize why he's called that way.
Okay,
all right. The Master takes only the Doctor back to Gallifrey, and basically spends most of the episode explaining things. And then, of course, we get the moment that... by the way, I forgot to mention that Ascension of the Cybermen is littered throughout with mysterious scenes of something happening in Ireland, of like a policeman finding an abandoned baby. The baby turns into a policeman. He falls off a cliff and survives somehow, which causes his adopted dad to become more and more suspicious. And when he gets older, he gets relieved from the service, who then proceed to wipe his mind. And his dad did not age at all this whole time. And then, of course, we learned why all these flashbacks kept happening, because this was all leading up to the story of the Timeless Child. We learned that in the older days of Gallifrey, Tecteyun was the first Gallifreyan to leave Gallifrey, and she found a mysterious Timeless Child standing at the gates of a foundry, brought her back to Gallifrey. While playing with another child, she fell off a cliff and died, and then regenerated, which was the first regeneration ever to occur on Gallifrey. And Tecteyun became obsessed with discovering why this happened and what made this happen. Eventually, she discovered and took the ultimate sacrifice and tried it on herself. She regenerated, and then after he regenerated, he basically introduced this idea to the rest of the Time Lords, to the rest of the Gallifreyans. Sorry, essentially creating regeneration and founding Time Lord Society as it is, alongside Rassilon and Omega, essentially making Tecteun the third iconic, legendary Time Lord from the old days of Gallifrey. And then the bombshell is being dropped that, oh yeah, the Doctor is the timeless child.
Yeah, because of course he is. She is.
She is. Yeah. And if that wasn't enough of a bombshell on you, the Master then basically takes all the bodies of the Time Lords he slaughtered when he destroyed Gallifrey and turns them all into Cybermen.
Because of course he would, which gives us this really badass looking look.
Yeah, I mean, look at these guys. Not only they look badass, they are Cybermen with the ability to regenerate.
Mm-hmm.
As if they weren't scary enough as it is. And then, of course, it's revealed that Ashad had the death particle inside him, which, of course, is the weapon of mass destruction that kills all organic life on a single planet. And Kocharma stays behind to detonate it while the Doctor's friends get away in a TARDIS, and the Doctor gets away in another TARDIS to find her TARDIS, and then gets taken by the Jadoon into space prison. And that's it. That's how it ends.
I mean, it sounds cool because of the introduction of those badass looking time Cybermen.
Cybermasters.
Cybermasters, sorry. I mean, plus Sasha Dewan's master, anything he's in is awesome. So, I mean, for that alone, yeah, I watch it. Also, I really am curious to learn more about this timeless child personally. So, I mean, there's a lot of incentives for me to watch this episode.
So why don't you?
Because I got other things I want to watch too, you know.
Excuses. And now we're on to the final one. Now, of course, the last one is from the Doctor Who Flux, which is, of course, the season-long arc. Just 6 episodes. But, you know, even though it's a shorter season, they still managed to do a season finale. Now, this is the only one I've only seen once out of all the ones we talked about. Haven't got around to rewatching it. And, well, basically, it's kind of hard talking about this one specifically without mentioning all the other stuff. But, so yeah, a little bit of catching up. So the flux is happening. It's destroying all the entire universe.
Mm-hmm.
These creatures called Lupari shielded planet Earth to save it from the flux. And then Sontaran showed up and started messing with history. And the episode itself, and then there's this mysterious guy called the Grand Serpent, who's there for some reason. And apparently he's the one that started UNIT, again, for reasons unknown.
Okay.
And he tried to assassinate Kate Stewart, but she escaped. We found that out in the previous episode. And the episode itself starts with the Sontarans tricking the Daleks and Cybermen, who are also trying to get away from the Flux, to join forces with them, only to use them as scapegoats to avoid the Flux. And the Doctor gets reunited with her adopted mother, Tecteun, who basically introduces her to the concept of the multiverse. And basically all she does is she's monitoring universes, and she realized that, oh yeah, it's time for this universe to end so we can start a new universe. And that's why she created the Flux.
That's messed.
Yeah, and in the meantime, you get these Ravagers, specifically Swarm and Azul, who've been trying to get their hands on the Doctor for a while. They finally do it. They kill Tecteun. They kind of mess with the Doctor, trying to get her to revisit her past. We almost get the House of Longbarrow connection from the novels, only to be stopped by circumstances. And then time itself shows up. Time itself manifests in physical form, which is basically the Doctor with a new coat.
Wow.
And essentially, time itself gets rid of the Vanquisher, not the Vanquisher, sorry, the Ravagers, and warns the Doctor that her time is coming to an end, and it's going to be involving the Master somehow, which of course is the power of the Doctor. And then the Doctor somehow splits into three different people. So we've got 3 Doctors in the same episode, running around the place, meeting each other, having conversations with one another. And then the Doctor just uses the passenger to absorb all of the flux and safely destroy it.
Sounds like a headache.
What?
This whole episode sounds like a headache.
It was. Trust me, it was. And so the Grand Serpent is stranded on an asteroid somewhere. Well, now that they've got a brand new companion in Dan, and the TARDIS is messed up on the inside. And that's basically it. Again, like you said, this episode, if this episode sounds like a headache, it's because it kind of was. They were trying to finish off a lot of plot lines.
Yeah,
in a very short, limited.
It definitely sounds like they were trying to shoehorn a lot into it.
I mean, if COVID wasn't a thing, this would have probably been a longer season, and they would have had a lot more time to wrap everything up. But this is the ending we got. And you know what? I did enjoy the Flux, especially War of the Sontarans and the Village of Angels. The rest of the episodes were, so-so.
Yeah.
This one's a kind of a meh, but it's an understandable meh because it was trying to wrap up so much. It works. Does any of what I said just now speak to you?
I mean, not particularly. I remember when this season was happening, and I do remember how everything was just so hit and miss. Like, it was probably, since I've been following Who, probably the weakest season in terms of review wise. So I
guess a lot of people really wanted this season to succeed.
Yeah, which I understandable. But it sounds like there's just a lot going against it. Or into it.
But again, reminder, they did this during COVID time.
Yeah. So, which I totally forgot happened during COVID. Yeah, I forgot it was during COVID.
Like the fact that they were able to make this season the way it is an unprecedented achievement, no matter who you are. Like you cannot take that away from them.
Agreed.
Because like the next episode after that was the Eve of the Daleks, where basically the entire episode just takes place in a warehouse. Like one setting, one location, and again, it's a time loop episode, so it makes sense.
Bottle episode, yep.
It's not really a bottle. It's a time loop. Like you get to a certain place and then you go back to the beginning and start the whole thing all over.
No, yeah. No, what I mean by a bottle episode is it's the style of episode it is. It takes place in one location, right?
One location with a very limited pool of actors.
Yeah, that's basically what it referred to as a bottle episode. Probably the most famous one is the episode of Friends, where the one where nobody is ready.
Yeah, well, the entire episode is just the 6 main friends in Monica's apartment. They don't even go back into Joey and Chandler's apartment. No. They stay in that one place.
No. So yeah.
And the reason I brought up Eve of the Daleks is because if they hadn't done this 6-part serial, the 6-part season, they would have had a slightly longer season of about 11 episodes, but they all would have been like that other one, like one location, very limited pool of actors. So I applaud them for going all out, balls to the wall with the Flux. Because let me tell you, I did not enjoy Eve of the Daleks, but that is a story for another time. As a matter of fact, I even covered that episode on this show. It was the second ever episode of this show that I did on my own about a year and a half ago. In a galaxy far away,
Naboo was under an attack.
So, do I even need to ask which is your favorite of these season finales, and what do you think about them overall?
Okay, so like clearly the ones I've seen, I love. Like as I've demonstrated, probably my favorite out of all of them would have to be the finale to season 4 because of the Avengers like atmosphere and everything that was at stake. And then I'd probably go with season 3 as my second favorite one.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I think that's it. I mean, my favorite is obviously this, but I mean, it's my favorite episode of all time.
Yeah.
Of Doctor Who. So I'm a little bit biased here. But yeah, so should we move on to plugs now?
Yeah, so you can find me on my personal Instagram and Twitter at soda_the_saxman, and you can usually find me doing my usual shenanigans here with 50 and whenever we feel like recording over on the So Diggin' Wrestling channel.
All right, cool. And you can also find me every Monday on this show talking Doctor Who, the greatest show in the galaxy, and every Thursday on Fun with Flags with this wonderful gentleman. And you can also find me talking about even more Doctor Who on my own YouTube channel, 50 Shades of Geek, where I do weekly reviews of every single Doctor Who episode from 1963 all the way to 2022. I just started, speaking of the conversation we had at the beginning of this episode, I just started John Pertwee's first season. First episode is already up on the channel, so you can go and check that one out. Nice. And you can also check out all these wonderful channels from the wider Benverse at large, like Something to Talk About, Galaxy Geeks, Multiverse of Geekdom, Movie Lovers Unite, The Midnight Cinema, A-Town Reviews, and of course, the In the Front Row, which is still not pictured in this thumbnail. So, yeah, this has been us. Next week, hopefully, Snark is all caught up, because we're going to talk about this guy and some of the season finales that he has had on Big Finish. Will he be ready by that time? Only time will tell.
No. Who knows? Who knows?
Knows. So, yeah, thank you for that. And for the rest of you, in the words of Missy herself,
don't forget to like and subscribe.
Goodbye.